Hey everyone, it's Barbie J. Welcome to my channel, June BLC. Hey there everybody, it's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama, Sisters, Season 7, Episode 18. Where do broken hearts go? Well, I'll tell you one thing, I don't know where they go, but I'm sure wondering who they talking about. How many people got broken hearts up in here? Is it Andy or Danny or Jordan or Rich? Karen? Who's got the broken heart? I don't know. Y'all put it down in the comment section what y'all think. So anyway, I don't know about the rest of y'all. But although this episode was constantly moving, I was really getting tired of all the 2 minute scenes and then switching to the next 2 minute scene. I prefer a 4 or 5 minute scene. But anywho, before we get started, if you're new here or if you're returning and have not subscribed as of yet, please take a moment right now and hit that subscribe button and then hit the notification bell, and it'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. And it'll also let you know anytime I do a live, which I will be doing one tonight, July 11th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know I usually do it at 8 p.m., but it's the summertime, so maybe people are getting home earlier from work and can jump on earlier. Hopefully that'll work for you guys. Sorry, I'm just now putting up the review, but y'all know I was hanging out at the Janet Jackson concert. Anywho, then I ask that you smash that like button, write a comment and join the conversation, and share because sharing is caring. So now this episode starts off with Andy walking like a zombie through her office to get into her office and close the door and fall down on the floor crying because of what Gary said to her in the garage. But as she's on the floor crying, Penelope calls and Andy doesn't tell her what happened. Penelope's like, I can't wait till we get Gary out of our lives and then we could testify against him. And Andy is like crying and trying not to let her hear her. But shouldn't she have told her then? Gary said he had her penthouse bugged and he had the Jordan's house bug. He didn't say her office. So couldn't she have used that moment, or she's too embarrassed that she didn't listen and opened her big mouth and said something? I think that's what it's all about. She's so busy trying to be a good, I guess, a good girlfriend to Jordan, but she's being a bad friend to Penelope, who really needed this takedown of Gary, especially because he killed her child. So next we have Maurice going back and forth with Attila when he's asking him to help the other clients who are standing around since Maurice is doing nothing. And Maurice is like, I seem to hear a bit of white noise, like you're being rude and unprofessional in there. And Sabrina comes out as a terrible manager and she's like, hold on, what's going on? What is going on? And in the meantime, did y'all hear the teller, the white guy, say that 2 people have quit because of Maurice? Maurice is being so unprofessional and reckless at work that I don't know if it's going to affect Sabrina or not. But for these writers to have him keep behaving like that, they need to have it somehow affect Sabrina and her job as being a manager, because she's terrible. She needs to shut Maurice down or fire him. She's the one who brought him back, though. Just because she didn't want him doing that other thing that he was doing. She's like, oh, you need to come back. But you know what? He needs to leave. Now she's going to lose her job. That's just my thought. Y'all put it down in the comment section how y'all feel. But then she's asking him what's going on. He's like, who's that? They see Damity. What's his name? Damity. I keep saying Damani Hendricks. They see him, but they didn't know who he was, and he was looking for Sabrina. And Maurice is like, I'm Sabrina. You don't know who this man is. He's from corporate, and you acting silly. You're acting dumb. And I just don't like the way they have his character behaving. It's not funny at all to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive. Y'all let me know down in the comment section. So Damani wants to interview Sabrina for the corporate newsletter, and because of her promotion. And I know why she doesn't want it, because she barely got that promotion. If Maurice hadn't have done the dirt that he did, Sabrina wouldn't have had that job. And we all know it, honey, honey. So anyway, he ends up meeting her. He didn't want to do it in the office at the bank. He wanted to do it in a more relaxed atmosphere. So he takes her out to eat. He's like, let's go out to a restaurant. Okay, Maurice still being silly, but forget him. Anyway, get to the restaurant. He got the recorder on, and he's trying to find out from Sabrina, stuff about her. She mentions the robbery. He cuts off the recorder because corporate really doesn't want to hear about that. Then they start off. She ends up telling him about seeing someone and trying to have a baby. At this time, Rich comes in and makes a total fool of himself, being rude to the man when the brother put his hands out to meet him. And he thought in front of Sabrina, even if she was on a date, who the hell are you to come up in there and interrupt it like that? I thought that was messed up. So that pissed me off. But he made a fool of himself when he found out that it was really a work thing, a business thing. Next, we have Karen at the salon. She's on the phone with her mama, complaining about getting behind in her bills. What was that? Her insurance. And she said because of Pam, when she first used her credit card and all of this stuff. But her mama had to put in check and tell her, which I'm surprised Karen didn't know that. As long as Pam is using your storage room and using your salon to promote her stuff and taking videos and on her social media, she should have been giving you a cut. She should have been giving you a cut. And I agree with Mama Lisa, honey. Get your money, Karen. And she needed to be talking to Pam right then and there, but I don't know why the writers didn't show that happening in that moment. And then her mother checked her about this whole thing. She don't want nobody at the baby checkup with her. And the mother's like, I said I'm gonna be a great Gigi, which I don't know how I feel about that, because she ain't never around, seemed like. But anyway, she's like, okay, you can handle Fatima, you can handle Zach, and you can handle Aaron. Stop getting upset. Karen don't want Zach to come because Fatima gonna come. She don't want Aaron to come because he gonna be father of the year. What the hell you want, a deadbeat daddy? What is it you want? I don't understand women like this. What is you want? So the good part is she finally turned it around. Karen turned it around and did the right thing. She reached out to Zach and told him he could invite Fatima. They didn't show us her reaching out to Aaron, but Aaron ended up being there at the appointment. Fatima told Zach that she couldn't make it, but that he could go on by himself, and she trusts him, because she's had dealing with a lot of work at the law firm. And Zach was happy. He said, you sure it's not a trick? She said no. So that was good. It just all worked out, which I was very proud of Karen for doing this. So in the meantime, Zach he got excited when Karen called and invited him and stuff, but he didn't have a babysitter, so he needed a babysitter. And he's calling his boys and everybody trying to get somebody to watch little Michael. And then here comes Deja in there with the rent money and everything. And he didn't even hold on to the rent check. He put it down on the table. I was like, shoot, she behind in her rent all the time. You should have put that in your wallet or something in your back pocket. But anyway, he got Deja to watch Michael, promising her that she never would have to pay any late fees if she was late with her rent, which was a stupid promise. He said for the rest of the year. As a landlord myself, I would have slapped myself for saying some nonsense like that. Anywho. So next we have this scene with Tiffany showing up to Danny's apartment. Danny's like, how in the world did you get my address? Her daughter Brianna gave it to her. But she didn't invite her in. She's like, what are you doing here? She wants to, I'm late for my appointment or to go to work or whatever. And she just walks on in and shows her the vape pen. She's like, that's my vape pen. Where you get it from? She's like, oh, my daughter had it. And good thing I found it. She could have gotten suspended from school. And you not watching my children when they're in your presence. And I'm going to let Tony know that your presence in their lives is detrimental and all this shit. And Danny's like, let's cut the ish right now. You keep calling him husband when he's your ex-husband. You just want him back. You gave him up. You're divorced. And he's my man now. Or he's your man. We've been together 11 years. She said, yeah, and you gave him up. So I'm not going to let you get away with this that quick or whatever it was. And so, Danny was right. Her perception of Tiffany was completely right. And Tiffany walks out and knocks into her and stuff. And I'm shocked that Danny was that cool, because I probably would have shoved her back. But Danny was like, you get one of those. You get one of those. And the girl walks out. But you notice she keeps saying husband. So Tony need to check her. He really does. Because now Danny goes to tell him what happened. He's up there rubbing her feet. And he's almost siding with his ex-wife about this stuff, about the kids and stuff. And I like that Danny called Tony and Tiffany out on being parents. Because she's like, it sounds like you're blaming me for your daughter going through my stuff instead of blaming her for going through my stuff. Or she said, blaming the real adults who are at fault, the people who didn't teach her to have good manners and not to steal. And I was like, bing, 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 you better tell him, Danny. And I'm glad she called him out on his ish. And she's like, let me just get back to work, because this ain't getting dissolved tonight. But he was like, he don't need nobody telling him about how to raise his kids. Dude, you and Tiffany are wrong, and y'all need to just stay together. All I can say is, run, Danny, run, girl, because you was right on point. Talking is not enough. They need to discipline her in a stricter way. Maybe he can't take off that belt anymore and do that in these days. You know, he's like, I can't do that every time she do something wrong. Well, you need to do something a little harsher than a talk, because talk is cheap. At this point, it's very cheap, and they're going to end up having to bail that child out of jail later on in life if they keep allowing her to go the way she's going. Mark my words. Now we have a scene with Fatima coming into Andy's office and seeing her in a state of whatever, shock or something. And she's like, what's wrong with you? And Andy's trying not to tell her. She finally starts to tell her when all of a sudden she tells her that Gary is trying to ruin my life. That's what she tells her. Then the next thing you know, she's Fatima's phone ring is Zach. He's telling her about what Karen said and that he needs a babysitter and all this stuff. And Fatima's like, go ahead. I'll trust you. Take care of whatever you got to do. Next thing you know, she's like, okay, Andy, what's going on? The lady, the receptionist busted in talking about Miss Marie's driver says she's on her way up. So here it is. Andy's finally got some real tears coming out of her face. Finally got some real tears. Y'all know she always do that. And you don't never see a drop. There was water coming out of her eyes. I don't know if she really got into her acting spot or they had to spray her with some tears or something. I don't know. But she finally had real tears. So kudos to you, KJ Smith. Anyway, she gets herself together. Fatima goes to meet Miss Marie, and she said, I'll have her in the conference room, meet us there. So that's what Andy did. But now, y'all, this is like my favorite scene of the whole episode. And it's at the end of the meeting. They standing by the reception desk, and Pam comes in handing out her roots to riches stuff, letting Andy know that her Edge is she gonna bless them today with her samples, so she don't look a mess. And even gave one to Hayden, talking about for that woman he have at home and all that stuff. And I was like, I wonder if Miss Marie knew that, but I'm sure she probably did anyway. But then when she gave it to Miss Marie, she said, oh no, you lied. And she's like, what? She said, you are Miss Marie to the mother effing Willis. She said, you effing right I am. I said, oh, look at Miss Marie. I said, she cussing. She said, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan. I done read your Forbes cover story 5 times. You my shero. And Miss Marie didn't have no problem with she hugging and everything and laughing and enjoying it. And she's like, where in the world did you find this creature? I love her. Miss Marie was like all of a sudden down to earth. You know what I mean? She wasn't that hardcore lady that came into the office. And Hayden's getting all mad calling her a hood rat. And Pam said, hold up. Who you calling a hood rat? And she snatched the jam or whatever that's back from them and said, any biatch with you deserve to have bald baby hairs, edges. I said, oh, she crazy. She called her, Miss Marie called her a marvelous creature, said she loved her, and then asked her was she going down, and went down the elevator with Pam, and Pam's telling how she had her dream. It came to a dream, and she started roots to riches in the kitchen of her boss's salon. And Miss Marie is like, well, let me tell you about some of my dreams. I said, oh my God. So she getting along with Pam. Meanwhile, Hayden acting like it's so unprofessional. What's unprofessional, Hayden, is you sleeping with your client. Bing, bang, boom. There you go. But then let me point out one last thing that happened with Hayden. He's promising that they're going to find some dirt on his lady's husband, that he was cheating. And Andy's like, why did you say we would? And he said, I didn't say we. I said I. See the difference? But if y'all go back and look at it, he did say we. She was like, Hayden, are you sure that you could find it? And he said, yes, as soon as we find something. So I don't know if he's saying we, him, and the private eye, or we as the whole team with Fatima. But he used the word we. Y'all let me know down in the comment section if y'all caught that as well. So now we have this scene with Danny showing up to the salon to talk to Karen. And I like this scene. I did like this scene. Danny got to express her feelings of how she felt about things from since college to now, what they going through. Karen got a chance to say her piece and stuff. But, they both, what is the word I'm trying to say? They both took responsibility for the parts that they played in each other's lives and the things they might have said or done that hurt the other one. And the fact that the fact that Danny came to her, because of what she went through with Tony just now, that shows growth in Danny. If anybody else agrees with me, it shows there was a little bit of growth, and that this therapy is probably helping her to grow, because she admitted that part of the reason she's coming to her is because of what just happened with Tony and Tiffany, and that if the rest of them had started being friends with Tiffany, they would feel some type of way. But it's still a whole different thing. Even though she said that their stories are still a little bit different, because Tiffany has kids with Tony and they've been married for 11 years and they've been together for a long, long time. It ain't 3 years like Karen and Zach, and they don't have kids and all of that stuff. So it's a little different. Not even that. Karen threw Zach out. She put Zach out when he wanted to stay. So that's really different. But the fact that Danny came up to her and tried to talk so that they could get back, their friendship, because she was sick and tired of the way things were being, and Karen said the same thing. It was good. And then something that Karen said at the end was basically something like, she's just sorry that it took them this long to have this conversation. And she admitted probably in another lifetime, her and Fatima probably would have been friends if neither one of them had dated Zach. So, she admitted that. And so they both hugged and made up. And I thought that was so sweet. So now we have the scene I almost forgot about, because is it even worth mentioning? I guess it is. Tamara shows up to Gary's office. I thought Marshall was his middle name. When he answered the phone, the lady said, Mr. Marshall Borders. So I was like, what happened to the Gary part? I got confused. But Tamara shows up and basically thinking she's going to blackmail Gary with that audio tape, which she could care less about. He said it feel like it been doctored anyway. So she's trying to get $250,000 out of him. And he's telling her that her mama must have dropped her on her head when she was a crack baby. I said, oh, snap. And he told her to get her stank PUSS having ASS out of his office. I said, oh my God, he was real nasty with her. And she just standing there rolling her eyes up in the face and, in her head. And he told her he ain't giving her nothing. She need to get out. And he told her that she need to do some kegels because her coochie wawa is a little bit too loose for his liking. And she tried to swing on him and hit him because she tried to say like she gonna go to the FBI and all that stuff. But when she tried to swing on him and he grabbed her arms and stuff and she got close to him, she didn't mind kissing him. And then because he started kissing her and he said, see, just as I thought, I could have your ass whenever I want to have you. And he told her to get out of his office. And she's like, you got messing with the wrong one, Gary. You messing with the wrong one. And she spit on him like down at his foot or something like that. and walked out. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about that scene. So then we had the quick scene with Zach, Aaron, Karen, Miss Lisa, and they're about to do the sonogram. And Karen actually asked, "Where's Fatima?" And he said she couldn't make it and she sends her best. So I thought that was nice. That was really nice. They started, and Miss Lisa moved and let Zach be next to Karen with the two fathers on either side of her, and they start doing her sonogram. Next, we have Fatima coming home and saying, "Zach, I'm here." And she's saying hi to Michael. "Where's your daddy?" And you see Deja with her back. She was getting dinner for, I guess, the little boy, for Michael. And she's like, "Oh, ish. Like, that's Fatima." And when she turned around, Fatima saw her like, "What you doing in my house? What you doing in my house? Get out of my house." She wasn't giving her no chance to explain nothing. Get out, get out, get out. So when Zach came home after the sonogram and Fatima sitting there with her legs crossed like she about to let him have it, it was too funny. And he was like, "What's wrong?" and stuff. And he's like, "You mad because I had your nemesis in the house?" He's like, "Why would you do? You better not ever do that again." You know, she was pissed. She tried to say she wasn't pissed and stuff, but she kind of let him have it. And then when he tried to kiss her, and she said, "Come on, give me a kiss," and she turned around and put him in a chokehold and told him that if he ever had that woman in her house again, that she was going to be going to prison for double homicide. And he was like, "Okay, I get it. I get it." She told him he could have called Angela, but he was like, "I ain't even think about Angela." She said, "Yeah, I know. You're so busy trying to get her behind in here to talk about Deja." But she should have gave him. He asked her, "Did you have any ideas of somebody that he could recommend?" And but Fatima had, Andy in front of her crying and stuff, so she couldn't think. She would have said, "Try calling Angela," but she didn't. But they squashed it. And then the episode ended with Andy coming in there and letting Jordan know that they have to break up. And she was kind of crying and stuff. And he's like, "Andy, no, I love you," and all this stuff. But I don't know why she couldn't tell them. Write a letter, a note saying, "The house is bugged. Your house is bugged." She should be telling them so that he could be careful of what he says around there. But then again, on the flip side, I guess it's a good thing she didn't tell him, because he might have told the other guy that's working with him. All of a sudden, I can't remember his name. And he might have tipped off Gary, and Gary would have found out that Andy alerted Jordan to what he was doing. So anyway, that's the way the episode ended. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it, and I will see you all in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your girl Barbie J saying peace.